अलग भाषा अलग वेश फिर भी अपना एक देश विविधता में एकता भारत का विशेषता irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion and region. India is one. We are one nation. We are one people. And we must have a common civil code. A common civil code calling out good aspects, various personal laws. This is not to thrust any particular religious text on people, a law on the people. To take something good, common for all citizens, that brings unity. Nation first, party next, and self last should be our goal. People must marry, one man must marry one woman, and nobody should be allowed to marry more women. If you have common civil code, that will prevail upon. And then divorce, there should be guidance for divorce. Simply by saying something, you cannot say divorce is over. No, you have to follow certain procedure. When I was talking about culture, one boy asked me, "Sir, what is culture? I am not able to understand." I told him simple. If you have a bread, you eat it, it is Prakriti. If you snatch the bread from other person and eat it, it is Vikruti. If you share your bread with other person, that is called as Samskriti. That is the greatness of Indian culture. Secularism means Sarva Dharma Samabhavana, equal respect to all religions. Do not discriminate anybody on the basis of his religion. That is secularism. But people are some people are wrongly interpreting it and then utilizing that for their vote bank politics. Common civil code do not mean Hindu civil code or a Muslim civil code or a Christian civil code. Common from all religions. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಏಕರೂಪ ನಾಗರಿಕ ಸಂಹಿತ ಭಾರತದ ಪ್ರಗತಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದರ ಪ್ರಭಾವದ ಚರ್ಚೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಲು ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಸಂತೋಷವಾಗಿದೆ. Friends, brothers and sisters, I am very happy to be amidst you today, this evening, to speak on a very important subject. Some time back, my colleague, Sri Shankaramurthy Garu, has telephoned to me and suggested to me if I can make it to Bangalore and address this gathering. He said people will be eager to hear you and also to receive you. I told him, definitely keeping in view my schedule, when I come that side, I will definitely address the gathering, I have assured him. And today, that is the reason for my being present here today and address you all on this very important subject. Important, simple, straight, and much wanted subject. Friends, we are an ancient civilization. Civilizationally, we are so ancient. Some of the so-called superpowers were not even born at that time. India has such a great civilization and also form of governance. And then our elders, our forefathers, they gave us so much knowledge and wisdom. One thing, because of the disunity and unnecessary quarrels and also to gain supremacy over others, there were infightings. Taking advantage of the infighting, the Britishers came here, they colonized us, they ruled us, they ruined us, they ruled, cheated and looted the country, and not only looted the country, but also looted some of our minds also. Because even today, some people are still influenced by that colonial past. Unfortunately, after independence, We should have gone back to our old traditions. We should have seen to it that proper, realistic picture of the Indian history, world history is presented before the people. But because of the Macaulay's influence, some of our rulers at that time, they were also carried away by that, and we were taught the history which says Alexander the Great. Great for whom? Robert Clive the Great. Robert Clive the Great, not Kittur Rani Channamma, not Veerapandya Kattabomman. This is surprising to read Indian history about the greatness of the invaders, the colonizers. That is a great mistake we have done. That has been thrusted upon us. Britishers, of course, they wanted to have their supremacy and they wanted to show their greatness. They have influenced the textbooks and taught us those lessons. Unfortunately, after independence, we should have done away with that and we should have had our own realistic Indian history. But now it's a past. Today, my dear friends, India, which was known as Vishwaguru once upon a time, students from across the globe, they used to come to India, to Nalanda, to Takshashila, to Vikramshila for study and knowledge. This is not said by us, Pahian, Yuan Song, Chinese tourists and historians, they came here, they wrote about it. Today, after so much this thing, we are again now getting prominence in the world. India is recognized and respected everywhere. And Indian youngsters, they are showing their brilliance. Many of Indians are heading multinational companies. Many. I did not take all those names now and take your time. The reason is this land, this bhumi, this water, this air, this civilization is something, there is inherent knowledge and wisdom among every citizen of the country, irrespective of their caste. We must only recognize that, respect it, and then we must upgrade the skills. That is to be done by the government and by all of us. I'm happy the new educational policy is such a wonderful document prepared under Professor Kasturi Rangan's committee, is really making a new beginning of the old civilization. And that should be implemented by all states. And no politics should come in the way. My dear friends, we have gathered here to discuss a very important current topic, Uniform Civil Code or a Common Civil Code, whatever you call it. Its impact on Bharat's progress. That is the topic. The debate on a Uniform Civil Code is nothing new. It dates back to the Constituent Assembly debates and has been in public discourse since then. India's diversity and plurality has resulted in each religion being permitted to have its own set of personal laws governing marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance, and succession. This situation of not having a common civil code has in fact adversely affected Bharat's socio-economic progress since independence. The prevailing vacuum has deepened existing inequalities and inconsistencies in our country, having varying laws for different categories of citizens has in fact been a hindrance in the nation's progress. अलग भाषा, अलग वेश, फिर भी अपना एक देश, विविधता में एकता, भारत का विशेषता. Irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion and region, India is one. We are one nation. We are one people. And we must have a common civil code. A common civil code calling out good aspects, various personal laws. This is not to thrust any particular religious text on people, a law on the people, to take something good, common for all citizens. That brings unity, further strengthens our resolve. My dear friends, peace is the prerequisite for progress. If you have tension, you cannot pay attention, and have retention, you will be doing only pretension. So for that, peace is the prerequisite. We should not allow these differences to come in the way and then quarrel even after so many years of independence on such small issues or such issues which are being tried and used by some people, vested interest and some political sections to further their own political future. What I am suggesting is nation first, party next, and self last should be our goal. Nation first, party next, and then self last. But some people are following it ulta. Self first, party next. If anything remains, nation. That should not be allowed to dictators or influencers. I am out of politics. I have been in politics, thick and thin of politics right from my student days. Held various important positions, including president of the then ruling party, Bharatiya Janata Party. But now I am out of all this. I have no political connection. I do not attend any political meetings because having occupied a constitutional position, Constitution is above everything. And then having completed my tenure, I have decided not to get into politics again. So, when I speak, of course, I speak out of my heart what I believe, and I speak in the larger interest of the country. I am not a member of Ramachandra Gowdaji's or Nagesh or Sankaramurthy's party anymore. That is a matter of past. But coming back, I am a citizen and I held a responsible position. It is my duty to go around the country, meet the people, meet, greet, eat, talk, walk, spend time with them. That is what is decided. That's why I say I have completed my tenure. I am retired, but not tired. Padavi viramana chesane gaani, pedavi viramana cheyaledu. I go and meet the people and explain my point of view to the people, and particularly younger generation. I go to colleges, universities, IITs, various research institutes, farmers' organizations, professional bodies, Chamber of Commerce, Lions Club, Rotary Club, various social organizations, and interact with them. And particularly I am focusing my attention after I completed my tenure in meeting the youngsters and trying to articulate views that will be really helpful to the younger generation. My dear friends, one must have passion for the nation. We should not give any remission, do any omission, or expect any commission. We must have the passion for the nation. That should be, foremost in every Indian's mind. Whether you are from north or south, east or west, India is the best. That should guide us. That should guide us. After suffering from slavery, after getting independence, 74 years of independence, now again, as I told you earlier, India is now being recognized and respected everywhere. We should commit ourselves to the values, ethics and standards which were given by our forefathers, which are enshrined in our constitution, and take the nation forward. We must work hard. We must all become physically fit. If you are physically fit, you will be mentally alert. And we must also follow what is there in the larger national interest. My dear friends, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, the chief architect of the Indian Constitution, had made a strong case in the Constituent Assembly for framing a uniform civil code. He stressed the importance of the Uniform Civil Code in ensuring gender equality and eradicating prevailing social evils, forward, backward, upper caste, lower caste, men are superior, women are inferior. This sort of social evils were guiding and influencing people in certain areas. I don't say in the entire country fully, but it is our duty to see that the social evils are totally eradicated and that equality is prevailed everywhere, and particularly the gender equality is very important because 50% of the population are women. And some people say, sir, what can we do? Our history, our Puranas, our Shastras, they always said men are superior, women are inferior. I asked them, where is it? It came in between and it should go in between. In our Vedas, in our Shastras, look at the Shastras and Vedas, Gargeyi, Maitreyi, and even look at what you call our country, motherland, not father's land or brotherland. We call it as motherland. That is the importance we give to women, that our civilization taught us. And then you take any river, Narmada, Kaveri, Sapati, Mahanadi, you take Sabari, you take any river, they are all named after women. If you believe in Puranas, look at the Puranas. Even Puranas, at that time, the education minister was Saraswati Devi, defense minister was Parvati Devi, finance minister was Lakshmi Devi. See the importance of women given. I am not saying it in a lighter vein. This is our culture. This is what our Shastras told us. So we now, after gaining independence, we should not allow any such discrimination. I feel it's not only giving importance to them in our social life, but we must give them importance in our political life, in legislature, in parliament. And I also feel that equality will come if we give them property rights also. Property, yes, son and daughter, equal. The property should be divided equally. If that is followed, then you will be empowering them economically. Political empowerment, social empowerment, and economic empowerment, all are important. This has to be kept in mind. My dear friends, if this tendency is allowed to continue, and we still deserve with this, whether to have common civil code or not have common civil code, and we prolong the debate. Some people say, sir, thorough debate is required. Who told you that thorough debate is not required? Debate has been going on since so many years, right from the Constituent Assembly to the regional assemblies to Parliament. We were discussing it. We must come to a conclusion at the earliest and come without a common civil code at the earliest to bring unity in the country, to give equal justice to all. That is the need of the hour. I feel it is the need of the hour. Sooner the better instead of prolonging it. The Supreme Court said it a number of times. The constant assembly debates are there. Not only Baba Sahib Ambedkar, he also, the other great people, they have also opined that we must have a common civil code. Dr. Ambedkar said, I quote personally, he said, I do not understand why religion should be given this vast, expansive jurisdiction so as to cover the whole of life and to prevent the legislature from encroaching upon the field. After all, what we are having this liberty for, we are having this liberty in order to reform our social system, which is so full of inequalities, so full of discriminations and other things. He said it at that time. And also, which are in conflict with our fundamental rights. It is therefore quite impossible for anybody to conceive that the personal law shall be excluded from the jurisdiction of the state, unquote. This is what Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar said at that time. And many other distinguished members of the Constituent Assembly, such as Alladi, Krishnaswamy Iyer, and the great K.M. Munshi, also advocated the enactment of a common civil code at that time. As Dr. Ambedkar ji and the other learned members of the Constituent Assembly had proposed, uniformity in personal laws is essential for empowering women and ensuring gender equality in matters of marriage, divorce, and inheritance. Marriage, people must marry, one man must marry one woman, and nobody should be allowed to marry more women. If you have common civil code, that will prevail upon. And then divorce, there should be guidance for divorce. Simply by saying something, you cannot say divorce is over. No, you have to follow certain procedure. You must also give her a right to live honestly, independently after you give divorce. These property rights also, as I said, the inheritance should be one for all. After all, this is simple. Common civil code means this. Marriage, divorce, inheritance. These are things which should be common to all people. A uniform civil code would eliminate discriminatory practices, deprive women of their rights and provide them with equal opportunities and protections. Our diverse society calls for a unified legal framework to foster social cohesion and national integration. Total national integration can be achieved if we have a common civil code. The Constituent Assembly members recognized the existing challenges at the time and stressed the need for a uniform civil code to bridge the gaps and promote a sense of unity among diverse communities. We belong to different communities. We belong to different religions. Religion is a way of worship. What we stress is culture, way of living. Our culture is so great, that should be preserved. And there should not be any scope for any discrimination. When I was talking about culture, one boy asked me, "Sir, what is culture? I am not able to understand." I said, "Culture is a way of life." He said, "Sir, way of life? No, can you explain some example?" I told him simple. If you have a bread, you eat it, it is Prakriti. If you snatch the bread from other person and eat it, it is Vikruti. If you share your bread with other person, that is called as Samskriti. That is the greatness of Indian culture. certain values, ethics, standards were prescribed. And we must always respect to the elders, respect to the motherland, respect to the nature. Nature, culture, together for better future. That should be our approach. Nature, culture, together for better future. If you worship the nature, protect the nature, it will protect you. If you neglect the nature, see what is happening in America, what is happening here also. Untimely rains, drought, you have floods, then you have tsunami. So many things are happening because of nature's fury. If you respect the nature, and it will also respect you and allow you to have a peaceful life. We must always fully protect the nature. That's another important thing. And then we must always respect the elders. Mother. I always say 5 things are important. 1, respect mother, who has given you the beautiful birth. Mother means father also. Mother and father are responsible for your birth. Second is Janma Bhumi, the place from where you are born. Whatever position you may reach, you should never forget your village or your township and do something for the betterment of that place. And then you should never forget the language, mother tongue, which has come from mother's womb. Because of colonial past, we are all neglecting our mother tongue because our education system teaches us from first class onwards. Why first class? Even pre-first class also. Children are taught English. If you try to teach children from the LKG and UKG, there will be pressure on them to learn 2 things. 1, language. 2, subject. If you teach them in mother tongue, straight away they will understand the subject. That's why we must encourage the mother tongue. I am not against other languages. First mother tongue, then brother tongue, later any other tongue. I have no problem. When I went to Chennai, some students asked me, sir, something is being forced on us. I said, no imposition. They clapped. Then I told them, no opposition. No imposition, no opposition, that is my preposition. That should be the position. Why should we oppose any language? I am not against English. But my preference is to my mother tongue. Mother tongue is like your eyesight. English is like your spectacles. If you have eyesight, then spectacles will work. If you don't have sight, even if you wear ribbon glasses also, zuban se kuch aayega nahi. This has to be understood by all and all. We must teach our children in mother tongue. వీధిలో గుడిలో బడిలో అమ్మ ఒడిలో నుంచి వచ్చిన భాష అవుతుందో తెలుగు కన్నడ మలయాళీ మరాఠీ అస్సామీ పంజాబీ భోజ్పురి ఎనీ లాంగ్వేజ్ మదర్ టంగ్ సింధీ will do even if it is your mother tongue, promote that mother tongue. Later try to learn other languages. As I told you, for a vast country like us, we have so many languages. We must have knowledge in those important languages for national integration, for understanding. I am from Nellore, which is nearer to Chennai. Because of the anti-Hindi agitation, we did not learn Hindi properly. Later, after I reached Delhi, I understood मैंने क्या गलती किया, what is the mistake I have done. Then later, slowly picked up. We're talking with party colleagues, we're talking with the media people. धीरे-धीरे मैंने हिंदी बोलना भी शुरू किया और हिंदी सीख लिया. My suggestion is first mother tongue. That's why I said brother tongue later. Hindi is a brother, Tamil is a brother, Telugu is a brother. Krishnadevaraya said, Kannada Kasturi, Telugu Teta, Rundu okay Bata, okay Mata. This is what great Krishnadevaraya said. So we must learn as many languages as possible, first mother tongue. Then we must also respect Guru. Some people say, Guru ka aesthetic hai, and now Google have come. The net has become very, very dominant in our personal lives. Somehow the children started forgetting thinking. Anything, you ask them anything, Google. After some time you ask him, what is your wife's name? Google. I am saying it in a lighter manner. You should, machine cannot do everything. Machine galti bhi kar sakte kabhi kabhi. Even if there is a repair for Google, you require Guru to come and repair the Google also. Guru is very important. We must respect our Gurus, our elders, and our children must be allowed to spend more and more time with the grandparents, grandmother, grandfather. And parents also should spend enough time with them. And then, of course, net, electronic gadgets are important, but up to a particular level. We must allow the children to have a thinking of their required. My dear friends, the Supreme Court said it, the Constituent Assembly said it, political parties also, when they speak outside, they all say Common Civil Code is very good. And in the Shabanu case, Supreme Court said, it is a matter of regret that Article 44 has remained a dead letter. This is the observation of the Supreme Court. Because Article 44, Directive Principles of the Constitution, it advocates enactment of a common civil code. And we are just passing on the time like that. The Apex Court ruled that in the constitutional order of priorities, the right to religious freedom is to be exercised in a manner concurrent with the vision of underlining the provisions of the Part 3 Fundamental Rights, Indian Young Lawyers Association case 2018. However, despite articulating the views clearly on the subject, the Supreme Court did not, because courts should not pass laws. That is the domain of legislature. What is right, what is wrong, interpretation of the laws has to be made by judiciary. But making of the laws is the domain of the legislature. Nobody should cross into others' rights and domains. That is also equally important, that has to be kept in mind. The subject of common civil code should not be politicized. That would be unfortunate and detrimental to the socio-economic progress of our nation. No segment of the political fraternity should interpret it as a legal measure directed against any specific religion, community. Instead, it should be seen and understood as an attempt to creating a united legal framework that upholds the principles enshrined in the Constitution and reaffirmed by the Supreme Court judgment. It should therefore be seen by all sections of the society, political class, as upholding the Constitution in letter and spirit. This has to be understood by all. Moreover, do personal laws pass the test of any other key counts? That is other important question. Personal law should have a two-dimensional acceptance. They should be constitutionally compliant and consistent with the norms of gender equality and the right to live with dignity. These are the basic principles, fundamental rights. And nobody should try to dilute them in the name of religion. The Constitution is our guiding light in this regard. Any dispute, any doubt, refer to the Constitution, what is said in the Constitution. It exemplifies the essential principles of justice, gender equality, and secularism. Secularism means sarva dharma samabhavana, equal respect to all religions. Do not discriminate anybody on the basis of his religion. That is secularism, but people are giving, some people are wrongly interpreting it and then utilizing that for their vote bank politics. We should not be carried away by such people. My personal appeal to the leaders of religious groups and political parties is to rise above all differences and come forward and support the implementation of a uniform civil code in national interest. Common civil code do not mean Hindu civil code, or a Muslim civil code, or a Christian civil code. Common from all religions, from all personal laws, should be collected together, and a uniform civil code has to be enacted by Parliament, ending discrimination, as I told you, in matters of divorce or maintenance, adoption and succession. It seeks to put in place a common set of civil laws for all citizens, irrespective of their religion. This is common civil code. It's high time that the codification of personal laws seeking to align them with modern principles of justice and equality is set in place. This is the purpose of the debate, and I think the country must earliest come to conclude the debate, and then move forward in enacting a common civil code in the national interest. This is my submission to all political parties, and my appeal to the people also to support common civil code. Namaskar, Jai Hind.